joining us. I'm Alexis Rogers. Just 2 hours ago, we learned more information about a deadly shooting at a hotel in the northern city of Cloquet that sparked a call for people to shelter in place. Today, we know a Super 8 employee made the 911 call saying another employee had been attacked. Cloquet police say they found a 22-year-old woman with gunshot wounds who died at the hospital and a 35-year-old man who had been shot and killed in his car. They also say they found a 32-year-old man from Ramsey County outside the hotel with what they believe is a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
As responding officers secured the scenes, they utilized hotel video surveillance to determine that the assailant was one of the deceased individuals.
Cloquet investigators say they are still looking for a motive. Right now, there is a massive weather system moving through the U.S. It's the same storm bringing snow to the southern part of Minnesota and closing dozens of schools across Wisconsin. This is video from the Milwaukee area showing just how much snow they're getting. And across the country, millions of Americans are under some sort of weather alert. Kansas is under a state of disaster emergency declaration. That storm is still hanging around in Wisconsin, but it's nearly moved out of Minnesota, Jamie. Are we done with snow for today?
For the most part, we are. Now, we will see the southeast corner of the state still getting some snow showers through these afternoon hours, but for the metro and for much of the region, it is going to be very quiet. You can see a little bit of light snow out towards Eau Claire, even up towards Rochester. But again, got to move into parts of southern Wisconsin, northeast Iowa, and much of Illinois dealing with this storm system now. We'll see some breaks in the clouds back to the west, but right now still under cloudy skies in the Twin Cities, 30 degrees, but feeling like 18 out there. Those winds a little brisk, and temperatures going to hold steady under the cloud cover. But we do have another round of snow on the way. We'll be timing that out in just a few minutes.
Hey, thanks, Jamie. Happy Tuesday. So if we take a look at the big map here, we can see a lot of green, and that's much better than where we were yesterday when we saw a lot of that yellow and red. I will note, though, that MnDOT says that there is some light ice between Burnsville and Bloomington on 35W. So pay attention to that if you're in a South Metro. This is a look at Burnsville Parkway. You can kind of see traffic moving along, not going too fast, though, because of that ice. They're also saying there's light ice on 35E between Burnsville and Eagan. So if you're in that area, be careful as well. There are some other slick spots and heavy ice in some areas of the Twin Cities. I'll let you know about that in a few. Alexis.
Cece, thank you. We are just about 3 hours away from a historic moment in the Twin Cities. Today, St. Paul will swear in its all-women city council. The new city leaders are also the youngest and most diverse city council in the city's history. St. Paul could be the largest American city to ever elect an all-female council. Council members say they're focusing on infrastructure, worker protections, and community-first public safety. Today, a panel of 3 Washington, D.C. judges are hearing arguments on if former President Donald Trump can be prosecuted for alleged actions to overturn the 2020 election. NBC's Alice Barr takes us to the hearing that could last hours.
Former President Trump arrived inside the D.C. federal courthouse behind me here shortly after 9 o'clock this morning. He's here for a significant step in his legal battles. He's trying to essentially get thrown out one of the prosecutions against him by special counsel Jack Smith's office. This is the one that accuses the former president of trying to overturn illegally the results of the 2020 election, efforts that culminated in the January 6th Capitol attack. Now, former President Trump has argued that he should have absolute immunity from prosecution because of his status as president at the time of these allegations against him. So there are oral arguments going on today before a 3-judge panel of the U.S. Court of Appeals for D.C. And essentially, attorneys for former President Trump are going to argue that he should not be prosecuted because of this immunity. And also, they're arguing that there's a sort of a form of double jeopardy because former President Trump did have an impeachment inquiry. He was impeached by the House and then acquitted by the Senate. What we're going to hear from the attorneys for the other side, the prosecutors, are that former President Trump is not above the law. Reporting from the federal courthouse in Washington, D.C., I'm Alice Barr. Back to you.
Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, we're seeing bipartisan demands for answers in the controversy surrounding Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. He's still in the hospital this morning, but The biggest concern is about how long it took for officials to hear about his hospitalization. Some are calling for his resignation, but a Pentagon spokesperson says he has no plans to do that. White House officials also say President Biden does not have plans to fire him. In the current economy, many of us are keeping a closer eye on our bills and our spending, but when it comes to your insurance, you may have noticed a jump in your premiums. Danny Spiewak shows us how it's impacting Minnesota.
I'm Danny Spiewak. It's probably no surprise to many of you if you've looked at your insurance premiums lately, specifically for car insurance and home insurance. Those are rising across the country, with another Wall Street Journal article that came out this week showing that some insurance providers are even reducing service in other states. Here in Minnesota, we're told that there aren't really insurance providers that are largely pulling out of the state. However, they certainly have seen auto and home insurance rates going up in recent months. And here in Minnesota, experts and the Department of Commerce suggest that you should shop around. If you're looking for insurance or looking for a new provider, look at the options, compare the prices, and try to find the best deal.